Good morning. Glad you could join us. Hey, hope you're enjoying summertime because before you know it, oh my goodness, yeah, it's going to be August or something. 1 Corinthians chapter 12, verse 7. Each person is given something to do that shows who God is. Everyone gets in on it. Everyone benefits. God gives us different talents. So Bob Goff tells the story of a children's story called Stone Soup. I'd never heard of it before, but perhaps you've read it before. There's a passerby gets a big cooking pot in the middle of the village and he lights a fire. There's nothing in the pot other than water and a couple of rocks at the bottom, hence stone soup. When the villagers walk by and ask what he's doing, what he's making, he says with delight, well, I'm making stone soup. Of course, the ladies, and he ladles out some of the water to people, okay? And tasting it, he says, what we could use is some cabbage. And sure enough, the villager says, well, I have some cabbage, and he throws it in. Another villager comes by, and the chef ladles out some of the soup and tastes it. What we need now are some carrots. Well, you can imagine this goes on. And eventually, he gets this delicious simmering pot of soup made from everyone's contributions, and the entire village is fed. The idea is a really good one, right? And it would be great if we all worked together. So the church came along with this idea of potlucks, which are a mixed bag, if you know what I'm saying. And that's what Bob thinks of. Potlucks were popular with farmers in the 1800s. I can see where that could be the case. And they would bring and trade vegetables and various other things that they had grown. Makes sense. But the way in more modern times we've done it, a lot of times at church, it's by alphabet. And I think it's pretty humorous how he puts this together. For example, by assigning alphabet letters, your last name starts with the letters A through G, you bring a salad. If it starts with H through P, you bring an entree. If it is Q through U, you bring a dessert. And if it's V through Z, you bring a bag of chips. Okay. He says it's a bad way to organize a dinner and a bad way to include people. Think about it. Why would you want the average college student cooking the entree? And maybe you have some world-class chef and they're bringing a bag of chips. And the other thing a lot of people do is they bring a bag of chips for one person. We actually have someone at our church who makes this great shepherd's pie, and they don't bring enough for one. And this last time I thought they finally scaled it back and there was only a little bit left, and then I realized there was enough for like 30 more people. Anyway, but that's the right person to bring shepherd's pie. In the same way, we don't want the person who is great with adults to serve preschoolers, or the person who has like this great childlike faith to be sitting in a boring elders meeting. Actually, our elders meetings aren't boring, but I think you get the idea. So just recently, my buddy has a daughter who went to a youth camp, and they had some kind of competition, and one of the competitions was swim. And so they just randomly picked two people out of the cabin who probably weren't so good at swimming when she's like a synchronized swimmer. I actually just saw her do some of these different moves she could do, showed me a video. It was really cute. She's a junior hire. And I said I could do that, but it would look different and I'd probably end up at the ER. I might drown if I did those moves. But why do we put the wrong people in the wrong spots? God has gifted and talented each and every one of us. What are you good at? What makes you want to get out of bed in the morning? Sometimes we have expressions, we're not always aware of them. Mine is, what lights your jets? I remember a friend of mine said that to me and I'm like, yeah, I guess I do say that. But it's true. What lights your jets? That is probably the area that God wants you serving in. Find it. Go for it. Give it all you've got to the glory of God. Have a great week.